Hello class, I hope this video finds you well. I'm filming this video to give you some further insight about your term paper. Now, you just completed the short essay assignment, and in many ways that assignment was a trial run for your term paper. I would encourage you to go back and look at the comments I left for you in Dropbox. If you need any further comments from me or have questions about it, please let me know. But again, the short essay was a bit of a trial run for your term paper. Now, the term paper is a significant assignment in this class, and the term paper will be due 2 weeks from tomorrow, Tuesday, July 30th at 11:30 p.m. in the D2L Dropbox. So what that means is that you need to begin working on it fairly soon. Now, the first thing you will need to complete this term paper is the book. And I mentioned this book at the very beginning of the semester. It is on the front page of our syllabus. The book that you will need is Susan Kingsley Kent's book, and it looks like this: The Influenza Pandemic of 1918-1919, A Brief History with Documents. So this is what it looks like. Again, it's on the front page of the syllabus. I realize that most of you have that book, and that's great. At this time, if you have it, you should begin reading it. First read the introduction. I think you'll find that very useful. I would encourage you to make some notes on it or underline if you prefer to do that instead in the margin, and then move along to the primary source documents. You'll see those afterwards, and so read those after the introduction. Now, if you do not have the book at this point, you need to order it ASAP. You need to get on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever you prefer and order it and get it as soon as possible. If you don't do that, you're going to be in a world of hurt for this term paper very quickly. So, first step to begin reading Kent's book for the term paper. Also, very, very important for the term paper is the term paper guideline. I have put together a very extensive term paper guideline for this assignment. I would encourage you to read it. It is on D2L. I'm going to email it out to you again as well. I've put together the term paper guideline in a fashion that will allow you to think about how to write it from the very beginning to the very end of turning it in. So read that very carefully. It talks about the two essay options you have for this assignment. And please choose one of them. Do not do both. That would be a real problem for you. So choose one of those and then read the term paper guideline. It gives you many, many helpful suggestions and tells you the requirements for the paper. Work through it systematically. Read the book first, then begin writing your paper. Whatever option you choose, make sure that you answer all the questions there. I put the questions together as a series of interlocking questions. And as the guideline specifies, you will need an introduction. You'll need a thesis statement. You need to make an argument. What are you actually saying in this paper, right? Thesis statement in your introductory paragraph. And then the supporting bodies, you will go through and answer the question with specific details and evidence, and you will need a conclusion at the end. Now, this paper is a 4 to 6 page paper, and for a few of you that may sound like a lot, but if you read the questions and you think, oh, well, I'm going to answer these in using specific examples, it really isn't quite as long as you think. One way to help you, and it's just a suggestion, not a requirement per se, is you might make an outline before you actually begin writing, and that will help you put your thoughts together, make sure you're more organized, make sure you have a thesis statement with it, and it will guide your writing. Now, as part of your term paper, you need to cite evidence. History is an evidence-based discipline, so make sure that you cite evidence. What that means for this paper is citing from Kent's book. Now, to make one thing clear on this, you do not need to do any outside research for this paper. In fact, I really don't want you to do that. That's really not a good thing for you. Particularly if you're dredging things up on the internet. That read the requirements about plagiarism, you could run into some serious issue here. What I really want you to do is simply to focus on Kent's book. So focus your efforts on her book, and all the evidence you will need is in her book. You'll find her introduction will be very helpful. in answering the essay questions that you choose. Likewise, the short primary sources are fantastic evidence for this paper, so please use those. In fact, I've required you to use a minimum of 4 short primary sources as evidence for this paper. Now, another thing in terms of sources is actually citing your sources. So whether you paraphrase from Kent or you're citing a quote from a primary source, and both of those things are allowable or recommended, you will need to tell your reader where you actually got this material, right? So the discipline of history uses a citation style known as the Turabian citation style, otherwise known as the Chicago Manual style. It's really the same thing. Look at the term paper guideline. If you're unfamiliar with that, the term paper guideline tells you how to use that, and they will show up in your paper as either an endnote or a footnote. The term paper guideline tells you how to insert those, and the term paper guideline tells you exactly how to cite your sources. In fact, the guideline uses Kent's book and primary sources located in that book as examples. And you can simply use, in some cases, copy those verbatim or use those as a model for your citation style. So that should make it fairly easy for you. Now, again, I want to stress using the guideline. I've tried to write a very extensive guideline to make it very easy for you. Please, please do make use of it. I do pay close attention to it. One other tip for this term paper is don't wait to the last minute to do it. Now, you have a little over 2 weeks to work on this. If you work diligently, work some every day between now and then, you should be able to do it without too much stress. But if you wait until the last minute to read the book and try to write the paper, chances are it'll be very stressful for you, and the quality of your paper will not be very good. So please begin to work on it now. And again, if you do a little every day, before you know it, you'll have a paper. Finally, when you do finish your paper, I would encourage you to go through more than one drafts. And the easiest way to do this, to edit your paper, to improve its clarity, to correct any grammatical or spelling mistakes, to reword any awkward sentences, is to read it aloud first. And when you read a paper aloud, if a sentence is awkward or if there are errors in it, you will instantly catch it by reading it. And you can therefore go back and correct that as you go, and do this a time or two, and you'll probably improve your paper by a letter grade or so, in all seriousness. I do count off for significant grammatical problems, spelling mistakes, and the like. And the point of this is not to be overly picky. The point is that you have clear communication. And if your paper is riddled with those sort of problems, you will not be able to communicate your point very clearly. So again, this also goes back to the idea of not waiting the last minute. Allow a little bit of time at the end to go through it a time or two. Read it aloud, correct errors, and that won't take you too long, but it will be a problem if you wait to the last minute. So again, I would encourage you to go ahead and begin working on your paper. This is a significant assignment for this class, so go ahead and work on it now. As you're working on it, if you have questions, you have concerns, if you want me to read over part of a draft, anything along those lines, please shoot me an email and let me know. I'll be happy to help you. The more lead time you give me, the better feedback I can give you. See, it's another thing. If you wait the last minute, chances are I may not have time to respond to you. So if you want to do that, it's not required. But if you want my feedback, just give me a little lead time, and I'll be happy to help you. Okay. Well, I hope this video is helpful. Again, please begin working on your term paper very soon, and do let me know if you have questions. All right. I'll stop with this. Thanks for watching.